Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and today we are going to talk about the placebo effect versus the nocebo effect. Before we get into it, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, like this video, share the video, and of course, as always, you can also go follow me on my Instagram that's also called The Art of Being Ill. In my video from last week, I was talking about some insane medical treatments that has been used throughout history, and one of them was dead mouse paste. And I was talking about how they in the old ancient Egypt would use that as like for infections in the mouth and holes in your teeth and stuff like that. And I was saying that the only way I could think that they would keep believing that it worked would be some kind of a placebo effect, that your brain really believed it, so it worked. And that made me think maybe I should do a video about what is the placebo effect and what is the nocebo effect, because it's actually quite interesting. Your brain is so unbelievable powerful. So let's just dive right into it. Let's start with the placebo effect. The placebo effect is basically convincing your brain that something is treating you for an illness, or something is good for you, or that if you do this you will feel better. And then because your brain believes it 100%, then it actually kind of works. The placebo effect has been studied a lot throughout the years. One study from 2005 showed that if you give people who suffers from chronic pain, if you give them pain medicine where there's actually no active drug in, that means there is no pain medicine in it. I think they use calcium tablets, but you told people that it was a pain relief medicine, the patients would still activate the part of the brain that reduces pain. It would have the same effect on the brain as if you took pain relief medicine. So just by believing you are taking something where there is an active drug in that will relieve your pain, you can actually get pain relief. And I think that's really, really interesting. That just the fact that you believe this is going to help you with your pain is actually what helps you with your pain. They have also done studies they call Sham surgery. Studies where they would have people who needed, for example, like a new knee, so knee surgery. And they would do the operation, but really without doing the operation, right? They would do what they usually do, except actually replacing the knee. And then they wanted to see if the fact that people believed they actually had a knee surgery, would that actually make it better? And it was actually kind of shocking because it showed they had these two test groups, right? One group actually got the knee surgery, the other group got a fake knee surgery. But both groups actually experienced the same level of improvement with their knees. Whether they had the actual operation and actually got a new knee or not didn't really matter. It was just the fact that they believed they had this operation. They thought they had a new knee, so it was already better. And it was the same level of better as the people who actually had new knees. And I think that's quite interesting. The mind is so powerful, unbelievable what we can do if we just truly believe we can do it. And I'm thinking that this is why there is a lot of the things you have used throughout medical history, everything from certain herbs to prayer, that when it has worked, it's probably because people believed it worked, not necessarily because it did. Of course, I'm perfectly aware there are herbs and stuff out there that's been used for medicine that actually do work and have like a scientific evidence for that. But there has also been a lot of very non-scientific treatments used throughout history. And I think the reason why it sometimes actually did work is because people believe the authority of a monk, for example, who prayed for you and gave you some herbs, or a doctor or a healer person or whatever it was where you lived. They believed them, didn't question it. And maybe that's why this has actually sometimes worked for people when they have gotten treated for something. I think that's really, really interesting. The thing about the placebo effect is that as much as you can trick your brain into believing that it is, for example, like you got a new knee, so now I can walk fine again, and then even though you didn't get a good knee, it still works because your brain believes it. It can also have like the opposite effect, which you call nocebo. And nocebo is, or nocebo, I don't know how I was saying in English, nocebo, is basically the same, but where your brain believes things to get worse. And there is actually this one interesting story I remember from when I was studying to become a pharmacy technician, where we were learning about placebo and nocebo. And it was a study for an antidepressive, I believe. And of course they had two test groups, one who actually received this and new type of antidepressants they were testing, and then a group that received calcium tablets. And then there was this one guy in the test group who were getting calcium tablets, who was so depressed and unhappy that he decided to take all of this he believed to be antidepressants at once. He wanted to commit suicide. He then regretted that and called 911, or in Denmark that would be 112. And he was rushed to the hospital, and he said he swallowed all these antidepressant pills and they couldn't really trace any drugs in him. It was like, that's weird because there is no drug in it. Well, it's this new test drug he was trying to explain, and they were testing him for like everything and there was like nothing. But what was weird was that he was completely reacting like he had overdosed. The way his body was reacting was as if he took an overdose and he was about to die. He had all the symptoms. He was dying from an overdose, and the doctors could not figure out what he had taken, because it's really hard to help people when you don't know what they overdosed on. And they couldn't find anything, and they had no idea why his body was doing what it was doing, because they couldn't trace any drug, and he kept saying he overdosed. They then found out that he was a part of this study. So they called the leading doctor on this study and asked him, what group is he in? Is he in like the actual group who got antidepressants, because then we need to know what the hell it is because we can't trace it, or is he in the other group? And the doctor had come to this patient as fast as he could. I suppose it was in the same hospital, I actually don't know, and had said to him, look, no, you are in the group who got calcium tablets. You didn't get the antidepressant. And once this doctor told him that, all his symptoms of an overdose stopped. I mean, that's really interesting. He could literally have died of an overdose without actually overdosing. That's insane. And what's even more insane is that the doctors could really not do that much because they couldn't trace anything. But the fact that his brain believed we have overdosed, this is what we have done, was enough for his body to react as if it was overdosed and he was about to die. That's insane. I want to mention, when it comes to the nocebo effect, I want to mention a recent situation where that played a part, and that is actually the COVID-19 vaccine. There was a lot of people who were really afraid. They expected, there was so much, never have anyone talked so much about an illness or the vaccine for it and what it does and what the side effects could be. So some people were really afraid of the side effects and expected the side effects from the vaccine. And a study from 2022 actually showed that about 50% of the people who claimed to have side effects from the COVID-19 vaccine could be explained by the nocebo effect. The fact that they believed they would get these side effects because they read about it, or because they heard something online, or people were spreading a lot of misinformation. And the fact that they believed it meant that they actually got the side effects because they believed they would. And that's really interesting, right? So that's why it's also really dangerous to have like misinformation on the internet. But in conclusion, we can definitely say that the brain is powerful. You can have people believe that you did something, you gave them a medicine, you did a surgery on them, and that can actually make people believe that they are better. And therefore they feel better. They are doing better. They can even have less pain in their knees and walk and run again, maybe, from having a fake knee surgery. I mean, that's like insane. At the same time, your brain can also make you believe in something so horrible that you might end up losing your life because you believe it, like the case with this guy who overdosed. You can get a lot of negative symptoms, side effects from vaccines and medicines and illnesses that may be very rare, but because you believe it so much and you're so afraid of it, your brain will create it. It's like, for me, it's interesting, fascinating, and a little bit scary. Because nobody minds the placebo effect, right? Nobody minds. I don't care if they give me calcium as long as I feel better. I don't care what they give me technically. I mean, sure, give me calcium as long as I feel better, fine. But it's scary because it can have the opposite effect, the nocebo effect, where it's like you can actually end up losing your own life just because your brain believes that you, for example, overdosed. I mean, that's so crazy, right? That was today's video, everyone. I hope you found this kind of interesting. I know I find it very interesting, fascinating, and a little bit scary. But I will see you next time right here on my channel, The Art of Being Ill, and have a blessed rest of the day.